in your career as a woman in leadership, trying to chase titles and chase roles and feel like this is what you need in order for you to be defined as a leader? This happens not only to women in leadership, but I've found that this also happens to men in leadership as well. In this video, I want to share with you that titles do not build leaders. How you communicate does. Now, if this sounds something of interest to you, and perhaps you found yourself climbing the corporate ladder, just climbing your way up as far as you can go, and you're still not where you need to be, or feel like that is what it means to be a leader, I'm going to share with you 3 strategies today for you to consider, for you to really start implementing into your conversations and as you're trying to advance in your careers, that will help you to truly start developing yourself as a leader. Now, specifically, the reason I'm bringing this topic up is because I was asked to by a individual, I will not say the name, and she mentioned to me that there's several coaches out there that are talking about the fastest way to climb the corporate ladder, the fastest way to get promotions, and etc. And she felt a bit misguided and a bit confused because she felt as if in her experiences, she noticed that a lot of times people that have big titles on paper are not the leaders that we really need. And I said, I'm going to do a live just for you. So if you have a topic specifically that you want to learn more about as a woman in leadership, which is my direct target audience that I provide one-on-one client services with, or perhaps you're a man in leadership and you're here on the channel, subscribe, trying to elevate how you communicate, let me know in the comments below, whether you're watching the replay or watching this video live. Now, this is a live video, so there is typically a part in this video where people will start to join. And if you can give me just a few moments, let me interact with the individuals that are present, because more than likely, if you're watching this video right now, you are watching the replay. And so I'm glad that you're here today to spend a few moments with me and to learn how you can communicate in a higher level so that you can really start to become that leader, because it's not based on your title, as many people say. So you want to watch this video in its entirety because I'm sharing with you over 20 plus years of experience as a C-suite executive and as a manager, as a director, an executive coach, and a public speaker that can help you to fast track your career growth in a meaningful way, not in the way where you're chasing titles and just chasing promotions, in a very meaningful way. So those of you who are present, welcome, welcome. Glad you're here today. If you want to learn how to really become a leader, not by chasing titles or having a big fancy name on paper, then you want to watch this video to the end. If you like this content so far, you need to subscribe so that you can learn a lot more. So let me know where you all are joining from in the big, beautiful world today. And then I'm about to go into the 3 strategies I want to share with you today. So we have YDU Hush. Hello, welcome, welcome. Hope you all are doing fantastically well today. Noor Abdullah, hello, welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well today. Let me know where you all are joining from in the big, beautiful world today. So I want to start off by saying that titles, as I mentioned in the title of this video, titles do not, and I repeat, do not build leaders. So before I go into more as to why the titles don't build leaders and how you communicate does, let me say hello in the chat. All right, Noor Abdullah from the Middle East, welcome, welcome. Glad you're here today. Brandon, hello, Brandon. How you doing today? And yes, so there's a couple questions that came through, and let's see what we have. So there's some talk about, let's see, I'll mention this briefly. There's talk about Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, from what I understand, that happened yesterday, was shot. So in terms of the question, Brandon asked me specifically was, how do you feel about Charlie Kirk? Well, Brandon, I have been in different situations where I've interacted with different political leaders and et cetera over my years, and I have not specifically had any interactions with this individual. I haven't followed this individual closely as much. I know there's obviously some political involvement that he's had, but it's always, unfortunate when anyone dies. So I don't know a ton about it in terms of specifically the details of it, but that's what I would say. And so Brandon said yes with Donald Trump. Yes. So as I mentioned, just very unfortunate when anyone is shot. Anyone is shot. So he was more in the politics area, a very conservative person. And let me see what else is coming up through the chat. So it's actually someone here at base. I know you're in the Middle East. So this is someone who is an individual that was very involved politically. And as Brandon mentioned, said yes with Donald Trump. So he was more aligned with Donald Trump from what Brandon is saying. And it's the person that was shot. Not sure of the details of it just yet. I haven't followed it that closely because I've been very busy with my one-on-one clients and preparing them for their next level. So Brandon, appreciate you bringing that up. I really, really appreciate you being here and bringing up current events, because even though we're talking about leaders, and specifically in the world of leadership and how leaders are not built by titles, I think it's always so relevant to be aware of what's going on in the world too. So if you all are joining from other places, let me know if there's things you want to talk about. Sometimes on lives, we will talk about a lot of different things, right? So we'll talk a bit more. We've talked about Bitcoin. We've talked about exotic cars. We've talked about dropping off kids. We've talked about diverse streams of income. We've talked about a lot of things. So I really appreciate y'all for being here today and bringing up something else on the channel for us to talk about. And then we'll hop into how and why titles do not build leaders. But I want to make sure that we're going through what you all are talking about on the chat. All right, so we have David Garcia Aldana. Hello, welcome. How are you doing today? And let me know where y'all are joining from. So David says, hello, our teacher of English and platform. I believe you're asking if I'm a teacher. I'm not a teacher. I am somewhat of a teacher, but not by profession, not by trade. I appreciate the heart emojis, everybody. Thank you so much. Tara, so we have Tara. Hello, welcome. Hope you're doing well today, and welcome back. Tara says, Jace, what's up, gal? Long time, eh? Yes. Well, thank you. I appreciate you being here. Absolutely. And if you have any questions about the topic we're going to talk about, let me know in the comments below. We just finished talking briefly about Charlie Kirk. I actually have not followed that as closely. I just know it popped up on my Apple News. And I don't necessarily have direct knowledge of that person specifically in terms of my interactions, but I know that he was shot and killed. And as I mentioned, it's unfortunate when anybody's shot and killed. I mean, that's just, people may be out there saying, celebrating it, but ultimately at the end of the day, we're all people. We all have a life. You don't want to celebrate somebody like that. That's just me personally. All right. Brandon says, you're a doctor? Yes, I am. I am, but I am a dentist, believe it or not. And I actually am providing executive coaching services specifically to my target audience, which tends to be women in leadership. But on my YouTube channel and on my other platforms, I have a lot of men in leadership that are present as well. So I'm happy to have anyone here, because I know if you're watching this, you are very, 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 very passionate about trying to communicate at a higher level, which elevates you as a leader. All right, Brandon, thank you for the smiley face. Nathan Sprinkle, hello, welcome. How you doing today? Nathan says, RIP Charlie Kirk. Okay, I appreciate you mentioning that. All right, and Brandon says RIP as well. Noor Abdullah says marriage or relationships, maybe as topics. Okay, so in terms of my channel specifically, Noor, so I deal with more contextual information and situations that occur to leaders. So I'm the person that is going to give you real strategies about leadership. I've been a C-suite executive for over 20 years. So I've been in those very friendly and very contentious situations. I have had the opportunity to give Florida State congressional testimony. I've been on the news. And so I don't necessarily, I specifically, my main focus isn't marriage or relationships as topics, but if you're trying to really elevate your growth and communicate as an executive at that very high level, then this, Noor, is a place for you to be. Definitely subscribe to the channel. Marriage and relationships is very, very important. It's just my channel specifically is about elevating leaders. Obviously, my target audience is working specifically in terms of one-on-one clients is women in leadership, but I have a lot of men in leadership on my channel. And so I'm here really to support anybody as a leader, because honestly, Noor, the world needs better leaders in the world today. And the best way for people to become wonderful leaders is by how they communicate. I have a saying on my channel, people become great by how they communicate. And so my goal is really to unlock the greatness within you and help you go to that next level. I'm going to share with you, how do you communicate in the interview? How do you negotiate your salary? How do you have difficult conversations with your team members, your employees, or your business associates? How can you still showcase your executive presence and still be that charismatic leader that people want to have? That is my expertise. I will help you figure out how to say something. That is me. Okay, so hope that helps you. We have woohoo, woo, 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 woo. Welcome, welcome. Glad you're here today. Brandon says, wait, is it normal for your gums to bleed or no? Okay, so you're asking me a dental question. I will give you a dental answer, friend. So it's not healthy if your gums are bleeding. I will say that. Typically, if your gums are bleeding, that means things are not as healthy as they need to be. Of course, you want to go into a dentist office so we can check your gum tissues and see if you have periodontal disease, which is gum disease, or if you may have gingivitis. We just have to check and see what's going on. But it's not normal. So if you see that your gums are bleeding, it's your body's way of saying that what is happening to us, we don't really like it. So make sure you go have an evaluation with your local dentist or whoever you trust so that you can make sure you're keeping everything healthy. Now, I will say that your gum tissues will typically not bleed if they are healthy, but they also will not bleed if someone is or has some condition where maybe they smoke, potentially cigarettes, because it literally causes the gum tissues not to bleed because it pretty much takes the oxygen away. And even though the gums may not be healthy, they just may not be bleeding. So most of the time, if you're not bleeding, then you're in a good place. If you are in certain areas, it just means there's a couple places where you may want to floss a bit more, and we just professionally go in. Okay, so let's see. Brandon said I went last week. Oh, it was only one. Okay, well then if it's only one, then that's all right. I mean, you have a good place in mind in terms of keeping everything clean. Just make sure you're flossing at least once or twice a day. Okay, Nora said I went in. They said I have an infection whenever I brush my teeth, they bleed. Well, there could be a lot of other things going on. Of course, I'm not here necessarily to give medical advice, normally in this particular type of video, but I would say there's a lot of things that factor into that, specifically for having some type of infection in your mouth and things bleed. There's so many things that can happen. So if that's what they mentioned to you when you went in, Noor, then absolutely just make sure you get that taken care of, okay? So Brandon, okay, okay, appreciate you sharing your age. And yes, I can't take cigarettes either. So I appreciate you all for having such a very, very lively conversation in the chat. So I appreciate you all. All right, so as I mentioned, titles do not build leaders. So you may have someone that says they're a manager, they're a director, they're a C-suite like me, they're a VP, whatever. Titles do not build leaders. And the growing trend here is that many people think that leaders are by default have these big titles. Not necessarily. So let me see what's in the chat. Brandon says, gotta go by. Okay, Brandon, well, thank you for being here. Appreciate your insight and content. And just, you're always welcome to come back, friend, okay? Now, I will say this. Just because you have a title doesn't necessarily mean you are a leader. Let me show you what really makes leaders. Are you ready? There's 3 things I want to share with you today. The first is that leaders are built by how they communicate. Now, there are several coaches, for those of you who just joined, welcome, welcome. We talked about this at the very beginning of the video. There's different coaches out there that their focus is to help you accelerate and go to the roles faster. So help you get promotions faster, help you climb that corporate ladder, right? Climb. Oh, I can go here, I can go there. They want you to climb faster. But what happens when you get there? Does that mean you're a leader? Not necessarily, it doesn't. The one thing that actually helps you to become a leader, which is my first strategy, is how you communicate. If you can climb that ladder all you want to, you can climb the corporate ladder, climb it up, and go through these promotions as quickly as you can. But if you're not able to really communicate and connect with other individuals, you will never be seen as a leader. You'll be seen as somebody who is a leader on paper, but not in reality. And that is how people tend to struggle in their roles as leaders. Where does this come up? This comes up specifically if you are in a leadership role and you're finding that people are not listening to you, or maybe they're just ignoring you and they don't want to talk to you that much. This is an indication that there's something else that's going on as a leader that people are not trusting you with. So if you're not communicating well, it doesn't matter what your title is, people will not respect you. People want to know that you are listening to them in terms of what they have going on. So before I go into my second strategy, remember titles. Do not build leaders. How you communicate does. Let me see what is going on in the chat. Rumi, hello Rumi, welcome. Hope you're doing well today. Let me know where you're joining from, Rumi. Glad you're here today. And I appreciate you for saying hello and that I'm pretty. Thank you, I appreciate that. Let me know if you have any questions specifically as it relates to this topic. Titles don't build leader, how you communicate does. Now, the second strategy I want to share with you, and we talked about communication, highly important. I have a lot of videos here on my channel, leaders, that talk about specifically how you can communicate at that higher level. Make sure you check out my lives. That's where everything happens, is in my lives. So definitely spend some time there. There's videos on how to communicate like an executive, how to handle difficult conversations, and etc. So feel free to check those out. They'll help you out quite a bit. Now, the second strategy I want to share with you in terms of that aspect of titles don't build leaders, how you communicate does, is you have to be able to showcase your executive presence. So specifically, what do I mean by your executive presence? There's a lot of different definitions out there that talk about executive presence. I'm going to share with you the definition that I made up, because I've read definitions and I've heard definitions about executive presence, and literally, leaders, the definitions are about that long. That's about at least 3 or 4 sentences. I have a very, very humble and very, very simple definition of executive presence. Are you ready? The executive presence definition that I have specifically is executive presence is your ability to inspire and influence other people. That's it. So when you think about your executive presence and you think about leadership, these go hand in hand. Now, I want to know from you, have you ever interacted with a leader that has been the leader, but they're really not acting like a leader? Let me know in the comments below. Even if you're watching the replay, let me know if you've ever experienced that before. I'm just curious to know if you have, because they may be the leader, but if they're not able to really engage and be that executive, they tend to struggle with leadership. Now, I'll give you an example of this. So if you have someone that is a leader, and let's say they consistently miss out on meetings, or they forget the meetings are being held, or they forget something that they told you, automatically their consistency impacts their executive presence. Now, I have a lot of videos here on my channel that talk about this specifically in terms of how consistency is the most important aspect of your executive presence. If you don't remember anything in the video as it relates to executive presence, consistency is key. So just make sure that you are being very consistent. If you say you're going to do something, do it. And then when you have those very challenging situations that come up, present the same consistent, calm individual that is the same person, whether it's raining and storming outside with lightning, as the same person who is there when it's beautiful outside and there's a rainbow. You have to be very, very consistent. So Rumi, let's see what Rumi is saying. You're welcome. Okay, I subscribe. Okay, well, thank you, Rumi. I appreciate you being here. This is a really great place if you are trying to really elevate how you're communicating as a leader. If you are at the beginning, the middle, or end of your leadership journey, we all can improve on how we communicate. And I specifically help my audience to communicate at a higher level than their peers. So if this is something that you want to do and you want to be able to stand out from everybody else, then this is the best place for you to be. And Rumi said, thanks, you really helped me be brave. Okay, well, absolutely. There's a lot of videos here I talk about that can really help you be brave, Rumi. There's thinking on your feet is one. How to handle difficult conversations is another one. There's a lot of videos. So just spend some time on my live. Just look through and see which lives appeal to you, and check them out. Now, remember, with the lives, they are live. So sometimes we may talk about topics, just like earlier we talked about Charlie Kirk just a few moments ago, and how we are at a place where we're talking about the content. So sometimes you'll have to scroll through. I'm in the process of putting timestamps on my videos. I have to hire somebody to do that because I don't have the time right now to do it, but that's something that's coming pretty soon, so I can help people navigate the lives easier. I'm hoping I can do that with YouTube. We'll see. All right, so Rumi says, thanks to you. No problem, Rumi. I appreciate you being here. Appreciate the heart emojis from everyone. And I really want to help y'all be those very strong, brave individuals that are leaders that are going to that next level. And if you want some direct one-on-one support with me, I specifically, in terms of my client base, work with women in leadership. So you're welcome to reach out to me. There is a link in the description below. But if you're a man in leadership, this information is helpful to you as well. And I'm really just happy that I have men in leadership, women in leadership that are part of my audience here. You guys are very, very insightful. I just appreciate everybody for being here. So we talked about your executive presence. You have to be that same person all the time. This is what builds leaders. This is actually one of the secrets to building a leader. You have to be consistent. You have to be consistent. If you're not, your leadership and how people view you will go down very, very fast if you start being inconsistent. Now, sometimes things will come up. You have to change course to do something a bit differently. However, I do want to let you know that consistency is very, very important. Now, I want to know from you all, what are some challenges that you have noticed or you've seen with leaders that are leaders on paper, but not leaders in reality? Put them in the comments below. Let me know. And let me see what's going on in the chat. Rumi says, I love your channels. You're perfect. Well, thank you, Rumi. I will tell you right now, I'm not perfect. I wish that I was, but I'm not. But, we're all a work in progress, that's for sure. So I appreciate you so much. Now, my third and final strategy I want to share with you, remember, titles don't build leaders. How you communicate does, is one that is very important that is often overlooked. Are you ready? This strategy is to observe before you respond. Why is this so incredibly important? Many people miss this, especially the individuals who are just chasing promotions, chasing roles, as I mentioned, climbing up the corporate ladder, one position at a time. They tend to miss this because they're so busy climbing that they can only look ahead of them and they can't look anywhere else. But if you're not climbing and you're actually trying to grow as a leader, then you're able to see what's around you. So that's a very important distinction. So what specifically do I mean by this? You can connect and be a leader, be charismatic, be confident by paying attention to what people are doing and what they are not doing. There are several videos here on my channel that talk about body language, how you communicate your body language, and etc. And they also talk about how you can observe other people's body language as well. This is another secret I'm sharing with you all as it relates to building yourself as a leader. You can sometimes pick and see exactly what somebody might be thinking based on their body language and what they're saying. Let me give you an example. So let's say there's a conversation going on and there's something that's being discussed between you and your team and etc. You don't know how everybody is going to feel about it. Maybe you're not quite sure. Take a moment and pause. I'm big about pausing. And watch the room. Look at every single person and see how they're responding to the news. Unless they are very highly trained speakers, they are probably not going to try to mask or control their facial expressions. You're going to see how they feel. They're going to say, or they may turn their head, or they may just roll their eyes or look away. If you take a moment and you observe, you will get the sense of how your team, or your business partners, or etc. feel about a specific topic. This is how you can connect with your team. So, for example, if your team, you said something and your team says, you see the looks on their faces and they look a bit confused or a bit overwhelmed, then you can talk to your team and say, I know this is a lot. I know this sounds really challenging, but I know that we can do it. That is a leader. That is not the person that's just trying to climb a corporate ladder. The person that's just trying to climb a corporate ladder, all they're going for is the title. That's it. They're going for the title. Maybe they do leadership here and there, but ultimately the title, the promotion is their only goal. And that's not what leaders do. Leaders, these opportunities, once you are developing yourself as a communicator, you've enhanced your executive presence by hopefully subscribing and watching my videos here, and being able to really observe and read the room, the opportunities for leadership, they will come to you in some way, shape, or form. So keep that in mind. So Rumi says, okay, I will tell my sisters to watch and subscribe. Well, I appreciate that, Rumi. Thank you so much. And they're welcome to ask me any questions as they're looking through videos on my channel. I do read my comments, so if they have a question specifically, then tell them just to let me know. I'll be happy to answer it for them. Or if they have a video topic specifically that they want to learn more information about as it relates to elevating themselves as women in leadership, then absolutely let me know. I will record a video just for them and give them a shout out on the video if they would like for me to. I've done that many times on my video, and actually this video specifically is from one of my clients that asked specifically a question about this. So absolutely, we've talked about a few things as it relates to how titles do not build leaders. Now let me know in the comments below if you're watching the replay or watching live, do you agree with me? Titles don't build leaders. What are your thoughts? I'm curious to know. Let me know in the comments below. All right, before I go into the strategies to sum everything up, I'd like to take a look at the chat. So Rumi says, okay, they love to. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Tell them if they have topics. I'm really here to help you elevate as a leader, and how I can help you do that is to communicate at a higher level. I just mentioned this earlier, I think Rumi, before you joined us, people become great by how they communicate. So I want to unlock the greatness within you to help you become that great communicator, that person that is at the top of their level, the very best version of themselves, that is inspiring other people. That is my mission here on this earth, is to make sure that you're going to that higher level in your career. Okay, Rumi says, okay, are you a doctor? Yes, so you missed our conversation a minute ago. So yes, I am a doctor. I'm actually a dentist. However, I have made a huge focus on my career doing something more so that I can impact and help more individuals, not necessarily in a community. I want to help the world, which is why I'm here on YouTube. So I'm an executive coach and a leadership communication strategist. So if you have a challenging situation, then let me know. I can help you navigate your way around it in terms of how you communicate it, especially in a professional setting. That is my gift. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I've had the opportunity to be in some really unique situations, and some very friendly and some very contentious situations as a C-suite executive and a director and a manager, an executive coach and a public speaker. So I'm here really to help everybody and help you really be able to go to that next level in your leadership journey. And as I mentioned, I specifically do one-on-one executive coaching and strategy sessions with women in leadership. So appreciate you asking that question, but yes, I am a doctor. Okay, so Rumi says, okay, that's nice to help people. Exactly, because ultimately we should be here to serve. We should be here to help people do something better in their lives. And I encourage anyone watching this video or watching the replay, if you have a message inside of you, you know that it would benefit the world, just do it. Just share your thoughts with the world. YouTube has changed our entire lives, has changed multiple generations just by being in a place where you can share your expertise. And I genuinely believe that everyone watching my channel, watching any channel on YouTube, anybody, there's something that is unique and special about you. Even if you're having a really hard time right now and you're struggling, there's something that makes you stand out from everybody else. There's some experience that you've had, there's some knowledge that you've learned. And so I encourage anybody, if you're in a position to start a YouTube channel or to just share your message with the world, do it, because more people need to hear other people's experiences. Because unfortunately, specifically in the world of communication, there's not a book out there that I found as a C-suite executive, as a director, that says, when you have a very challenging situation, this is what you're supposed to do. This is what you're supposed to say, and this is how you're supposed to act. That book isn't there. I haven't found that book. If you find that book, put it in the comments below, because I want to take a look at it really quickly. But I have not seen a book like that. And this is why I'm here. I'm sharing with you real strategies, real techniques, and real situations and scenarios that actually do happen in the real world. As I mentioned earlier, there's many different coaches out there that are trying to focus on, helping you climb that corporate ladder, climb the ladder, and go to this promotion, get paid more money. And those things are extremely important. You have to have an income. And I'm very aggressive with salary negotiations, which I help my clients to do also. But I do want to say that ultimately, you have to be in a situation where you are giving back in some form, way, shape, or form. So let's see. So yes, so Rumi, I'm about to actually wrap this up. So you're welcome. I'm sure it's early or late your time. Definitely come back to the replay whenever you have a moment. But I appreciate you so much for being here and sharing this information with your sister. So thank you. So as I mentioned, there's 3 strategies that you want to use. Remember, titles leaders, titles do not make leaders. How you communicate does. The first strategy is to communicate. Know how you communicate. Communicate at that higher level than your peers. If you're watching this video, then this is something you automatically are going to be doing anyways. by watching my videos. Second is to make sure you're showcasing your executive presence at all times. This is a great way for you to really show yourself as a leader. And third and finally, make sure that you are observing and really listening before you respond. This is what leaders do. People that chase titles are having a very difficult time being able to do that. And as I mentioned, when people are chasing titles in their careers, particularly if they're women in leadership, they're just focusing on the climb. You can't, when you're climbing, you can't look this way or you're gonna fall off the ladder. So you have to be completely focused on what you're doing. That's not how leaders are made. Leaders are the individuals that can look around the room and look around and see what's going on. But the people that are only chasing titles, they can't. So this is why I don't want you to be a title chaser. Regardless of if you're a man in leadership or a woman in leadership, please don't go chasing titles. Now, will they help you in your career? Of course. But I don't want the main mission for you just to chase titles. If you really are serious about being a leader, then be a leader. Be that charismatic person that people can connect with, not the person that just walk their way up just because they want to chase a title. Because at the end of the day, when you're finished with your title, whatever that title is, there's going to come a point in time, and I deal with clients on this all the time, when you've achieved VP or you've achieved C-suite, you have a point in your life where you say, what's next? Everybody, every senior executive does that. So you don't want to chase the titles because ultimately the title will show itself to you and you wonder, well, what am I doing with my life? So I don't want you to do that. So I appreciate you all being here today. If you're new to the channel, I go live Tuesday through Thursday. We talk about whatever topics come up. Most of them are heavily focused on communication, but as you saw today, there's a conversation about Charlie Kirk and a few other things. So I appreciate you all being present today and watching the lives. And if you have any questions, let me know. If you have any leaders that you want me to review for you so that you can start to incorporate higher level communication skills and allow me to show you what they're doing so that you can do this in your everyday conversations to help you stand out from everybody else, then put your leader in the comments below. We have several leaders already that we're going to be working on, so I'm really excited about that. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all on the live tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. Friday is when I have a little bit more of an opportunity to talk more and spend more time with you all. So I'll see you in the video tomorrow. Bye for now.